So in between films, we get Solo, the most expensive Star Wars film ever made because they fired the directors and reshot like 90% of the film. It's not good.
No.
I would have liked to have seen what the original was.
Yeah.
I literally have it and not good.
Yes.
Like, literally not good.
I don't hate the guy who plays Han Solo. People had a problem with him. I'm glad they didn't do digital de-aging. It's just not very well written.
The same guy that did the deep faking for Luke on Mandalorian season 2 did deep faking on Han Solo for this movie, and it's like a perfect performance.
Well, this is the guy who didn't he do something he fixed something from something else with Star Wars, and then they hired him because they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, he fixed the Luke from the end of season 1. Yeah.
So this movie looks bad. Like, it is very muddy and it's hard to make out. Like, it's
blue, grays, some orange.
Yeah, but it's just, there's not a lot of contrast, and it's very, very dark. And I thought it was just because modern theaters, they leave a lot of lights on sometimes, and it's part of a security thing and the anti-theft thing. So a lot of times if I see a movie that takes place mostly in the dark, it's hard to see. So I thought that was the issue. And then I tried watching it on video. I'm like, this looks really bad. And it's the cinematographer from Arrival, which was really good.
Huh.
So they fired the directors and replaced them with Ron Howard because he was an old guy who was safe and would play by the rules. It's fun trying to guess which Ron Howard scenes are in the movie. Obviously, Paul Bettany, because he was added afterwards. They replaced the other actor because it was going to be a CGI lion man.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then when they decided they need to reshoot, they're like, we can't afford a CGI character. So there was one scene where I'm like, oh, this is definitely a Ron Howard scene because Clint Howard's in it. And no one is putting Clint Howard in an A-list movie, especially Star Wars, unless it's being directed by his brother, Ron Howard.
And who is he in the movie?
He's there during the fight. He's one of the guys outside during that that fight that they're watching.
Okay.
Everyone loved what's-his-face as Lando.
Yeah, Donald Glover.
I agree, he looked like Lando, but after I watched it once or twice, I'm just like, I feel like he's just doing an impression, like he's in a Saturday Night Live skit. Doesn't feel like a character.
He said Han.
Yeah. Amelia Clarke is super forgettable in this.
Kira.
There.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
It's like Q-U-I-R-A or something.
Yeah,
like that.
She does.
There's like an apostrophe.
She does Terrace Cassie, that video game.
Yeah. That's right.
Which we theorized because we did the review for Masters of Terrace Kasai or Cassie, whatever, for AVGN. While I think they might have been doing reshoots, I'm like, did we inspire that?
That's funny.
I'm going to feel bad if we inspired that. Because no one else would reference it.
Terrace
That game
Kasai.
is famously horrible. No one likes it.
And I guess the guy that's Han Solo's master, his friend, I guess mentor.
Woody Harrelson?
Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson. He kills Ayla Singh. What's the Ayla? The big bounty hunter. That's a big deal in the Clone Wars. She's white and bald and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they mentioned it. Aura Singh.
Okay.
They kill Aura Singh.
I hate that we have an origin to his gun. I don't care where he got his gun.
I did like the train heist.
Yeah. Chewbacca is kind of just there.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be more about their friendship, but it's not. It's about him and Lando and Kira. Fucking.
I know you love the droid. Your favorite character.
I hate L337 because it makes me feel guilty about all the other droids.
Is her name Leet?
Yeah. So the droids have personalities, so you kind of care about them when Ewoks are shooting them with electricity and stuff. So they're not just trash cans; they have a little personality. And then I guess Lawrence Kasdan's son, who wrote this, was trying to impress someone. He's like, "What if they were all slaves?" And we actually call him out on it. And it's well, now you're making me feel like Luke was a slave owner.
Yeah,
and
all
I don't
these
really
characters
like
that we love are now slave owners. What the fuck?
Because in A New Hope, they're we don't serve their kind here, and so C-3PO is I'll go outside, I guess.
Yeah. And really, Obi-Wan should be well, yeah, I don't think he drinks alcohol, so I didn't expect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that whole change, they're slaves now, they need to be uprised. I'm well, now it's hard to watch the other ones knowing that, because now I'm are the good guys the bad guys? But yeah, Solo.
Are we the bad guys?
Yeah. So Solo's just very forgettable, and then
Darth Maul.
The Kessel Run.
The Kessel Run. They screwed up Kessel Run.
But yes, Darth Maul.
They screwed up parsecs in the original movie. No one cared. And this movie had to make it make sense.
They didn't need to do that.
And I like the idea that the Millennium Falcon was really nice with Lando owned it.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to do a thing where oh, this will explain it. Like years of Han Solo owning it, it looked like shit, but then it just turns to shit right away.
At the end of the movie, yeah.
And then the whole like climax is Han learns to shoot first. But that's not in your current continuity. Fuck, I hate this movie.
Yeah,
I
don't
really
like
don't like
this
this
movie
movie.
at all.
I said, because L337 was one of the worst characters I've ever seen in a Star Wars film. I was like, in Rise of Skywalker, if I see the real Lando put on a headset and talk to her brain and the Millennium Falcon, I will walk out of the theater. I do not want to hear that character. I really don't like it.
I also laughed when Lando showed up in The Rise of Skywalker. Like, he literally didn't need to be there,
Yeah.
but, like, I'm glad he was there.
I will say, like, at least the characters are kind
It's only because Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah.
They were
I will
literally
say,
like,
like-
oh, well, we need somebody.
We need another legacy character to help
The
us.
characters at least have some kind of personality to them, unlike Rogue One, where they're all bland, but it doesn't save the film. It's terrible. Speaking of not saving anything, Rise of Skywalker.